Alrighty, and then lastly we have section 6.3 where we added, subtracted, multiplied, divided, and composed functions. So they give us two functions, f and g, and they want us to first identify the domains of each of those individually. So our domain for f of x, well, if we consider f of x to be the function x cubed plus 1, think about your restrictions on x. Is there anything you cannot take to the third power? No, you can plug in whatever you want. So your domain for that guy is all real numbers. Now if we look at g of x we have a power function. So we've got a fraction in our exponent. So that will normally give us some pause, but notice that our denominator of our fractional exponent is odd. So it's like we're taking 4 times the cubed root of x. Remember, you can take the odd root of any number. It doesn't have to be positive. So our domain for this guy is also all real numbers. So for 22, as we think about multiplying them, we use our properties that we know. So we're taking f of x, which is x cubed plus 1, and we're multiplying by 4x to the 1/3. Well, if I have a binomial times a monomial, I'm just going to be able to distribute. So I have 4x to the, now when we have something like this, we have to add our exponents, don't forget. So I've got 3 over 1 plus 1 over 3, that would give us 9 plus 1 over 3, that'll give us 10/3, plus 4x to the 1/3. And I think on my key on e-backpack, I got that wrong, so I multiplied my exponents when I took 4x to the 1/3 times x to the 3rd, but don't forget we should really be adding our exponents. So f of x times g of x is 4x to the 10/3 plus 4x to the 1/3. Now, what if I take g of x and I multiply it by itself? Well, g of x was 4x to the 1/3. I'm taking that times 4x to the 1/3. So 4 times 4, I get 16. X to the 1/3 times x to the 1/3. We add our exponents. So I have x to the 2/3. That is g of x times g of x. For number 24, I am asked to evaluate our f function at x equals 2 and our g function at x equals 1, and then I'll just add up my results. So f of 2, well, I'm taking 2, cubing it, and then adding 1. 2 cubed is 8, 8 plus 1 is 9. I'm going to add that to g of 1. Well, g of x is telling me to take 4 times 1 to the 1/3. Remember fractional exponent? That's really saying, oh, the cubed root of 1. Well, the cubed root of 1 is 1. So 4 times 1 is just 4. 9 plus 4, we get 13. Number 25. Now we are starting to compose our functions. We're finding f of g of x. So I want to find f of 4x to the 1/3. So f of x tells me take x, cube it, and add 1. Well, this time around, I've got 4x to the 1/3 cubed plus 1. The first thing I need to do is I need to distribute that exponent. So I'll have 4 cubed x to the, this time around we're multiplying exponents. Now I get x to the first plus 1. 4 cubed is 64. X to the first we just call x plus 1. F of g of x. And number 26, this time I'm doing it in the opposite order. Again, just kind of noting that these will not be the same thing. So we are evaluating g at x cubed plus 1. Well, g is saying take 4 times your input raised to the 1/3 power. And this time our input is x cubed plus 1. Now be careful, don't fall into the trap of wanting to distribute this. Just like if I had x cubed plus 1 squared, I wouldn't be able to distribute it, right? I would have to FOIL it. I won't be able to distribute this guy. So we are going to leave it like this. Also, I won't be able to distribute that 4 in. Just like if I had a 4 in front of this, I would have to FOIL it first and then distribute that 4 through. So really there's not a whole lot else we can do to simplify. So we're just going to leave it as 4 times x cubed plus 1 all to the 1/3 power. Number 27, finding f of g of 8. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find g of 8. Well, g of 8, I'm going to take 4 times 8 to the 1/3. Order of operations, I have to do those exponents first. 8 to the 1/3, that's the cubed root of 8. Cubed root of 8 is 2. So I'm taking 4 times 2, I get 8 out, which is kind of interesting. So now I'm finding f of 8. Well, f of x is telling me to take my input, cube it, and add 1. 8 cubed is 512. 512 plus 1 is 513. So f of g of 8 is 513. Lastly, number 28, g of f of 0. First thing I want to do is find f of 0, and f of x is telling me take my input, cube it, and add 1. Well, 0 cubed is 0. 0 plus 1 is 1. So I'm really finding g of 1. G of x is telling me take 4 times my input to the 1/3 power. 1 to the 1/3 is just 1. So 4 times 1 is 4. So g of f of 0 is 4. Alrighty, there is your review worksheet. If you have any questions, feel free to send them my way. Otherwise, keep preparing for your quiz.